Saint Rita was born Margherita Lotti in Roccaporena, Italy, in 1381. The day after her baptism, Rita was surrounded by a swarm of white bees which went in and out of her infant mouth without hurting her. Rather than being alarmed, her family believed she was marked to be virtuous and devoted to God. At an early age, she begged her parents to allow her to enter a convent, but was instead arranged to be married to a cruel man named Paolo Mancini. Young Rita became a wife and mother at only 12 years of age, and her husband was a man of violent temper. In anger, he often mistreated Rita verbally and physically. He was also known to pursue other women, and he had many enemies. Paolo had many enemies in Cascia, but Rita's influence over him eventually led him to be a better man. He even renounced a family feud between the Mancinis and Cicchis. Unfortunately, the feud between the Mancini and Cascia family grew turbulent, and one of Paolo's allies betrayed and killed him. Following her husband's death, Rita gave his murderers a public pardon, but Paolo's brother, Bernardo, was still angry and encouraged Rita's two sons, Giovanni Antonio and Paolo Maria, to join the feud. Under their uncle's leadership, each boy became more and more like their father had been before Rita married him, and they wanted to avenge their father's murder. Rita attempted to stop them, but both of her sons were determined to revenge their slain father. Rita prayed to God, asking him to take her sons before they lost their souls to the mortal sin of murder. 1 year later, her prayers were answered when both of her sons fell prey to dysentery and died. Following the deaths of her sons, Rita attempted to enter the monastery of St. Mary Magdalene in Cascia, but she was not allowed to join. Though Rita's character and piety were recognized, her husband's association with the family feud was greatly feared. When Rita persisted, the convent told her she could join if she could find a way to mend the wound between the Cicchis and Mancinis. After asking John the Baptist, Augustine of Hippo, and Nicholas of Tolentino to help her in her task, she attempted to end the feud. The bubonic plague had been spreading through Italy at that time, and when Bernardo Mancini became infected, he finally abolished the feud with the Cicchi family. Once the conflict was resolved, Rita was allowed to enter the monastery at the age of 36. It is said that she was transported into the monastery of St. Magdalene through levitation at night by the 3 patron saints she appealed to. While at the monastery, Rita performed her duties faithfully and received the sacraments frequently. Rita had a great devotion to the Passion of Christ, and one day when she was 60 years old, she asked, "Please let me suffer like you, divine Saviour." After her request, a wound appeared on her forehead, as if a thorn from Christ's crown had pierced her. It left a deep wound, which did not heal, and it caused her to suffer until the day she died. It is said that as she neared the end of her life, Rita was bedridden from tuberculosis. It was then that she asked a cousin who had come to visit for a rose from the garden in her old home. As it was January, her cousin did not expect to find any roses, but there was a single rose in bloom which was brought back to Rita at the convent. She passed away 4 months later, on May 22, 1457. Following her death, she was buried at the Basilica of Cascia. Her body can be found today in the Saint Rita Shrine at Cascia.